Aloha! Welcome to Maunalua, Past, Present, and Future, a monthly show brought to you by Livable Hawaii Kai Hui. I'm Geary Mizuno, and I'm a volunteer with Livable Hawaii Kai Hui, a community nonprofit. I'm your host for today's program, and we're going to be looking at the ʻŌhiʻa Legacy Initiative. Joining us to talk about the ʻŌhiʻa Legacy Initiative is J.C. Watson, who is the president of the ʻŌhiʻa Legacy Initiative. Thanks for being here, J.C.
Hey, Gary. Thanks for having me.
So tell me a little bit about yourself. You're a local boy, right?
Yeah, so I grew up on Oahu, public school, and eventually went to UH. Have had the opportunity to work throughout the state, but now I'm back here on Oahu after kind of a long stint on Kauai, and just doing my best to be happy and make a difference, you know?
Yeah, and to help make the environment a better place and restore native forests, right?
Yeah, I do what I can.
Okay, so we're talking about the ʻŌhiʻa Legacy Initiative, and some of our viewers might not know what an ʻŌhiʻa is. So can you tell us a bit about this iconic Hawaiian plant?
Yeah, so I brought one today because I always bring a tree whenever I go to talk about trees. It's my inspiration, you know? But anyways, the ʻŌhiʻa lehua, scientific name is Metrosideros polymorpha, is an endemic keystone species tree. It's found on all the main Hawaiian islands, once ranged from the top of the mountains all the way to the sea. And really, it is the main species in our native forest. I mentioned it's a keystone species, so it really supports the whole ecosystem. It's the first tree to come up on a new lava flow, and it, just basically builds the forest from what is essentially, nothing. And brings all of the other species along with it. So it's super, super important ecologically and culturally too. It's very, very important to our native Hawaiian culture, both from a traditional standpoint. It's a kino lau of laka. It is the mo'olelos and ōlelo no'eau is so entwined with that culture. It's really beautiful.
And when you say endemic, it means that it is found only in Hawaii, right?
Yeah. So Metrosideros is kind of a pan-tropical genus, but the species that we have here in Hawaii are found only here, nowhere else.
So why did you start the ʻŌhiʻa Legacy Initiative?
Well, that's a great question. Mostly I wanted to see ʻŌhiʻa back where they used to be. So as I mentioned, they once ranged from the top all the way to the bottom. But with agriculture, human development, ranching and urbanization, now there's a big swath where there used to be ʻŌhiʻa, and now there is not any longer. So it was kind of the impetus was part of that, and I love native Hawaiian plants, by the way. So kind of that, and they're really beautiful. So it was kind of a combination of all of those, but our mission is really to spread awareness of native Hawaiian plants through the reestablishment of ʻŌhiʻa back in our urban landscapes.
Great. Definitely a very important thing, especially in Hawaii. So tell me some of the activities of the ʻŌhiʻa Legacy Initiative.
Yeah, so we kind of have three main branches of our organization. One is we grow trees like this, and we provide them to homeowners to be planted in their yard free of charge. So that's kind of one. The second one is we teach people how to propagate ʻŌhiʻa. So we've actually went throughout the state kind of over the past year holding ʻŌhiʻa propagation workshops. We have had them for the Hawaii Master Gardeners programs. We've been to numerous schools, Kamehameha schools. Where else? A lot. Sorry. I'm trying to think of where we've been. We were just down actually at Kaka'ako, at our Kaka'ako, teaching people on the street how to propagate on Saturday. Great. So that's kind of the second branch. And then the third one is we have an inventory, which is a way for the public to get involved and basically map the ʻŌhiʻa trees in their urban area and have them logged on a map. And the purpose of that inventory is kind of twofold. One is it helps us track our efforts. So if we, let's say, give out 500 trees, that's great. But if we knew that in the area we gave those trees out, there was 250, we can say we've increased the population by X. And it also is a means of, kind of creating a really nice map to show where all the ʻŌhiʻa are.
Plus, kind of restoring sort of that visual connection for people to say that it's not just monkey pods, but we actually have ʻŌhiʻa, and this is the way it could have looked, or at least in your imagination.
Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit more about giving away these ʻŌhiʻa seedlings, or I should call them small saplings, to the public for planting?
Yeah, so we're actually going to be doing a giveaway kind of coming up. This would be our second one. The first one, it was part of our pilot project, which targeted the community of Manoa Valley. And that kind of was the initial setting root, I could say, of our organization. And essentially what we did with that one was we did the inventory, an urban inventory. So we mapped all the trees through roadside surveys. And then we provided 10% of all the family households, TMKs, with a tree. And that was really great. It was an awesome success. We gave away like 350 trees in an hour and a half. And everyone was so happy. There was so much positive energy that we are doing it again. And this giveaway is actually sponsored through HICO. Gave us enough to give about 250 trees away to the general community. So that giveaway is going to be coming up, and that's kind of what we're going to do, I guess, going forward, is we're just going to grow a bunch of trees and give them away, and then grow a bunch more. It'll take a year or two, and then we'll give them away, and eventually, I'm only 34. I can only imagine how many trees I'm going to give away by the time I'm 64, right?
So right now you're talking about giving away trees in the Manoa area to landowners. Do you have some plans for expanding that to other areas?
Yeah, so the giveaway that's coming up is not really restricted. It's in Manoa because that's where our main nursery is, our shade house structures. But anyone's pretty much allowed to come down and get a tree. We have another 300 trees kind of designated for Pacific Palisades that are going to be, that's kind of more of a targeted one. A gentleman over there sponsored 300 trees for his community because he wants to see ʻŌhiʻa by his home. So that'll be more targeted. And then we can, it's just kind of evolving. We just did a giveaway for a laymaker hui and provided, like 25, 50 trees to laymakers so they can plant lay material at their own homes.
So how difficult is it for people to grow ʻŌhiʻa if they, they want to be a little bit more proactive and not just rely upon the seedlings or saplings that you're giving away?
So growing it is actually not as hard as people think. Starting to propagate it from seed is a little tricky because the seeds are absolutely tiny and they're very fragile in those initial stages. But once they get to this size, they're pretty hardy, and really the key thing is to plant it, and to plant it in a sunny spot where you're going to enjoy it. I mean, I've seen, like I said before, they can grow anywhere, and I've seen them growing beautifully in really dry areas at sea level, Kapuhulu area or even Kapolei, beautiful like 15-foot ʻŌhiʻas covered in blossoms. Now, even though those areas are drier, a lot of people have access to irrigation or hoses. So, watering your tree every couple days is going to be enough to let it thrive.
But ʻŌhiʻa does grow in drier areas. So once you get it established, are there like cultivars or ones that will, once you get it established, that you don't have to water it as often?
Yes. So, the Metrosideros polymorpha means many forms. Polymorpha, many forms. And there are types of ʻŌhiʻa that are more adapted to dry land. A lot of times they'll be a denser. That's kind of just what I've seen from exploring the forest. But in general, they'll pretty much grow. Any of the ones you can even buy at Home Depot, or Huikuma Oleola has a ton of different ʻŌhiʻas. And they also do cuttings too, so you could choose your flower color if you want it. But it's relatively easy. The main thing is just people need to grow it and need to plant it.
So let's talk about the flower color just a bit, because I think most people think about ʻŌhiʻa as having the red flower, lehua. But can you describe some of the other colors that that ʻŌhiʻa may have?
Yeah, I mean, they come in a variety of colors, anywhere from various shades of red, really, really dark red, to like a pink red, to like pale peach colors, and then there's variations of yellow, like almost orange yellows, to yellow with a little bit of red at the bottom, to really yellow to kind of green. They can come in salmons and oranges. There's a mythical white ʻŌhiʻa out there. So anywhere in between. And if you grow your ʻŌhiʻa from seed, it's kind of neat because you can't choose the flower color, so it's almost like waiting for that surprise day.
So I know we're skipping a little bit, but talk about the proclamation about ʻŌhiʻa.
Oh yeah, so I brought a proclamation today. I went and I'll hold this up so people can see it. Yeah, I went and met with the governor, and this is the second year in a row. April 25th is officially ʻŌhiʻa Lehua Day in Hawaii. And the impetus for this is just to really, give ʻŌhiʻa some love. There's rapid ʻŌhiʻa death out there, which is a fungal pathogen, really devastating the ʻŌhiʻa populations on Big Island, and then it's also recently been detected on Kauai. So in lieu of rapid ʻŌhiʻa death and rapid ʻŌhiʻa love, we can say, the governor stepped up and rapid made April 25th ʻŌhiʻa Lehua Day.
So you plan to have special events in the future, in future years on ʻŌhiʻa Lehua Day?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this year our giveaway is going to be on May 4th, so I mean that'll have already passed by the time this airs. But there were some other things happening. We did that thing down at Kaka'ako. Another kind of volunteer partner did a workshop actually today on Earth Day at Kauai Church School. And yeah, people are kind of moving and shaking throughout the state.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
It's exciting. So you mentioned doing this inventory of ʻŌhiʻa in Manoa Valley. Tell us a bit more about that, and also whether you intend to expand that to other areas.
Well, it actually has already been expanded statewide. Anybody can go onto our website, so ʻŌhiʻalegacy.org, and under the Get Involved tab, there's a link, and just says, add your tree to the inventory. And with an address and a number of trees, that's all you got to do. We don't need names. It can be completely anonymous. And that, yeah, already is happening. We actually had a gentleman who recently inventoried all of Maunalua area for us.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how many trees are in Manoa?
So before we did our giveaway, there was about 126, which was more than I had thought, because I had only ever seen a handful of them. But after driving every single road in Manoa, I found a lot more. But then after giving away 350, it puts it at, what's that, 400, closer to 500-ish? Trying to do math on TV is hard.
I'm just thinking that there are existing 140 or so ʻŌhiʻa just there in Manoa, which is really developed. I find that to be very surprising.
Yeah, I was surprised as well. And it was interesting because a lot of those were, it wasn't like one at one house. It was like you'd have like 12 at one house, and then none, and then like 3. So you really rarely found just one ʻŌhiʻa. And that kind of, I find a beautiful dualism with how ʻŌhiʻa naturally creates a landscape to how it creates a forest in people's yards. Because if you have one ʻŌhiʻa, you're more likely to plant another one, and you're more likely to plant, let's say, palapalai at the base. And through the ʻŌhiʻa, you actually bring in secondary native plants too, even into an urban landscape.
So let's talk about those native plants, because we have a bit of time here. Most people, when they think about Hawaiian plants, they think about coconut and pineapple, maybe sugarcane, although those have gone, and certainly monkey pod, and just a vast number of shower trees, but those are not really Hawaiian plants.
Yeah, none of what you just said is actually native. Our native forests are a beautiful assemblage of biodiversity. The ʻŌhiʻa being one of the main ones, but there's just an astounding number of fantastically beautiful trees that you could plant at your home.
So can you give us an example of some of these trees that are available to your knowledge that could be planted?
Sure. So I mean, if you go down to your nurseries, and it's kind of nice because more and more nurseries are actually coming on board with growing native Hawaiian plants. But ʻŌhiʻa is a good one to look for. You can find koa trees if you got enough space. Wili wili trees are really nice. Those are more of a dry forest tree with these just massive flowers. We have a handful of native hibiscus species. Only native Hawaiian hibiscus actually have a scent, which is kind of nice. Yeah, and those are kind of the main ones, but there's ʻaliʻis and nios, and I could just go on and on and on about native plants. And then the ferns as well. The fern component of a native Hawaiian landscape is awesome.
I thought you might have been showing up to our show today with a little hakule made of all completely native materials.
I might have, but unfortunately I don't know how to make those. Yeah, I was able to. I actually just received a really nice one the other day, but it's hanging on my wall drying at the moment.
So if you could talk to us a little bit about the importance of native Hawaiian plants in ʻŌhiʻa from the Hawaiian cultural aspect.
Yeah, sure. So, in my studies and in my pursuit of knowledge, I've definitely tried my best to learn from what the ancestors had taught us. And the biggest thing is that I've found is that ʻŌhiʻa and native Hawaiian plants are the culture. It's a nature-based culture, and you can't separate them. So the ʻŌhiʻa is everything. It is the stories. It is the poetry. It is it's sacred to hula. You would only ever build vestiges of ku with ʻŌhiʻa wood. You would use the posts for your hale. You would burn the wood to make your food. You would adorn yourself with the liko and the lehua, and it is the culture, and it doesn't just stop at ʻŌhiʻa. It extends to all of the native Hawaiian plants and the limu. These are plants. These are plant people, and if you think of them like that, then it kind of starts to make sense.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So, I'm sure after listening to you, our viewers are going to be really interested in helping to restore ʻŌhiʻa, not just in their neighborhoods, but just more generally on Oahu,
Awesome.
including the wild places. Statewide, yeah. So, what can they do to help see that effort go through?
Well, the main thing is plant ʻŌhiʻa at your homes. That's the big one. The more ʻŌhiʻa we have, the more chances there are for people to have emotional connections to it. And you don't really value something that you don't see that is way up in the top of the mountains, but you do value something that you planted and your children grew up playing in the shade of and picking the blossoms, and just plant it and grow it and love it is the main thing.
I mean, it's a beautiful tree.
Yeah.
Just looking at it, it's not like native, ugly, something. It's actually a very beautiful tree from
it's absolutely stunning.
Its leaves, certainly the flowers, right? It's just has everything I think you would want in a real garden tree, I think.
Yeah, for sure. It doesn't make rubbish. It has beautiful flowers. You don't ever have to trim it. By the time it would be large enough to put a crack in your sidewalk, it's going to be 200-300 years, so you don't have to worry about that.
Or at least your descendants will have to worry about that.
Yeah, my great-great-great-grandkids can be angry at me for planting too many ʻŌhiʻa trees by my house. But also every tree that you plant also helps to provide a nectar source for pollinators. In the forest, it's a very important source of nectar for native Hawaiian birds. It also really helps with controlling erosion and watershed recharge. The shaggy bark attracts moss and epiphytes to grow on it, so even when it rains, the water doesn't just run off the trunk. It slowly trickles down and actually soaks into the ground. So it even helps with watershed recharge in that way.
So, we've been talking about native forest and ʻŌhiʻa. I'm sure viewers have never seen a real native forest. I mean, whether it be a dry forest or a middle forest or a true wet forest, a cloud forest, for example.
Right.
Can you offer up some suggestions where people might go to see some of these forests? And they've been impacted, certainly because of alien species, but places that seem to be relatively in good conditions, that they can see a lot of natives.
Sure. Well, the easiest places to get to in some really nice native forests is going to be on Big Island. So if you go up to Volcano National Park, or up along Saddle Road, up Mauna Kea, or on Maui, up Haleakala, you can find some beautiful ʻŌhiʻa trees and really, really intact native forests. Kauai, if you go up to the Kokee and the Alakai Plateau, there's amazing native forests up there. Oahu, it's a little bit harder. You're going to actually have to hike for a little bit, but you can get some really good intact native forests if you go a ways up Manana Trail, or Puamoho, or if you can make your way up to Mount Ka'ala on the Waianae Range. There's some awesome trees and awesome native forest up there. Mm-hmm. And I really, really recommend that anybody who has the ability to get up and experience a native Hawaiian forest, because it is unlike any forest anywhere else on the planet, and they're very spectacular and very, very special.
You didn't mention Maui and Haleakala as being another relatively easy place, because there's a road
you can drive there.
You can drive there, and you can trails that go off, and you're right into the native forest and shrublands. Yeah,
the native forest shrublands, and even I think it's called Hosmer's Grove has some beautiful, native sandalwood forests and ʻŌhiʻas and koas, and it's a really special place.
Okay, so do you have any last thoughts for our audience?
Yeah, mostly it's just announcing ʻŌhiʻa Lehua Day, and if people want to get involved and help out our initiative, the easiest way is to start to inventory trees in their neighborhoods. They can also host and sponsor trees for their own neighborhoods. They can reach out and learn how to propagate, or of course make a donation, because we let all of the money that we get through private grants and donations, we turn them straight into trees.
Not a lot of overhead. In other words, everything goes to...
Everything goes to trees.
Yes, that's the way that we hope that all nonprofits should work, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, if you want to contact JC for more information about the ʻŌhiʻa Legacy Initiative, and certainly to volunteer and help your time, here's his contact information, his email, social media, and then the website for the ʻŌhiʻa Legacy Initiative. Thanks very much, JC, for joining us on the show. It was a pleasure, as always.
Awesome, Gary. Thanks for having me.
I hope you can come back again.
Yeah, as long as you keep having me, I'll come back and talk about ʻŌhiʻa every time.
Great, great. Okay, well, a big mahalo to the folks at Ōlelo Studio in Kaimuki, to Livable Hawaii Kai Hui, and to our viewers at home who helped make this program a meaningful one. Until next time, this is Geary Mizuno signing off.